Well, I'm Dr. Claire Peterson at Shintimony Wildlife Center, and since we got so many eagles in recently, we had a lot of questions as to what our process is when we get in injured eagles and all other wildlife, of course. So I'm here today with Yami, our education bird. He's been with us for many years on display. About 5 eagles came in around the same time, and we were wondering if they were connected, but right now we only think 3 of them were connected. The first thing we do is see how stable they are, and we try and do just very basic triage. Oftentimes they need a moment to calm down because stress kills wildlife, especially wildlife, because they get so stressed out in human hands. So a lot of times the first thing we do is give them a moment to calm down. You know, if they're shocky, we try and give them that moment. We always give fluids when they first come in to help stabilize them and assess for any injuries with the exam. With the raptors, and especially eagles who eat fish and can sometimes eat those lead fishing weight, those can actually dissolve in their stomach acid and it releases the lead into their body and they can get lead poisoning. So the first thing we do when big birds like eagles, especially fish-eating birds, come in is do a lead test. We actually have an in-house lead test machine that takes about 10 minutes. So we get a quick blood sample and run that and then stabilize them, get them on antibiotics. You know, are they breathing hard? Does it look like a respiratory infection? Are there any wounds we need to treat and bandage? And then once they're a little more stable, you know, we get them on liquid diets usually first if they're really thin and emaciated like these other eagles were. And then we, you know, start with the medications and things like that. And then we slowly move them to solid food. Once they're here for a couple days, once they're a little more stable, we'll start running other things like blood work. We do a complete blood cell count in-house. If their white blood cells are elevated, that often means an infection of some sort. If a certain type of white blood cell is elevated, that sometimes means a fungal infection called aspergillosis that eagles are prone to. So then we'll get them started on antifungals and things like that, if that's a worry. So there's a lot we can tell from this blood work that we can run while they're here. The eagles that did come in, 3 that we think are related, were all very weak and they were slightly neurologic. And so we also ran a test that we had to send to Oregon State for West Nile virus. A lot of people might remember several years ago when that was killing a lot of crows and a lot of raptors. That's still out there. That was negative, so it wasn't that. It wasn't lead. And the way that we treated them was we kind of assumed it was some kind of toxin because their white blood cells weren't showing any sign of infection. We still ran the West Nile virus anyway because we needed to rule that out. And we basically just flushed out their systems. My toxicology professor always used to say the solution to pollution is dilution. And so we diluted. We gave them a ton of fluids. We were giving liquid food. We were trying to flush out their system. You know, if there was anything in there that was toxic, we wanted it to move on through and do as little damage as possible. And now, since all 3 eagles are doing well and they're about to be moved out to a flight cage to get more exercise and build up more strength, I don't think we're ever going to know what that toxin was because it's already out of their system. So any blood tests that we run, it's not going to show up at this point. So I don't think we'll ever know what that mystery was. I have a few suspicions, but what really matters is that the eagles are doing well, and it doesn't appear to be a widespread thing because it was just those 3 birds. So yeah, thanks for reaching out, you guys. We always like to hear your questions.